What's up everyone, it's your boy Infrar-Ed. Welcome to the Scott Report. Today I'm bringing you an anime review of Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans Season 2 Episode 5. And this was the type of episode that you know you're going to get from Gundam, because when things get really high up, like all the action we saw last week with the three-way battle between Tekkadan, Gjallarhorn, and Dawn Horizon, it's always going to be that episode that takes you down that slope, even things out a little bit, and take you right back up at the end. As this was a little bit different than what we're used to, as we really didn't get that much time with Orga, Mikazuki, and the rest of the guys on Mars. This episode actually focused on the Earth division of Tekkadan that is led by Mr. Chad, who is also a former Human Derbis member, and Takaki and those guys. So we got the newer kids that's part of the Human Derbis down there on Earth. And this goes all the way back to like episode 1 or 2. Like, remember when I was saying there's always corruption in Gundam, and we definitely saw that in this episode, as there's corruption with them on Earth. Because you have to remember, just like in everything else, there's always going to be people that hold on to their old ideals, people who hold on to their own ways. And when I saw that Tekkadan had an Earth division, I knew it was going to be some people who are against them because they're from Mars, and there's still that prejudice, there's still that hatred from people from Mars. There's still people who feel that they have no right to be there, and we see that this episode with the snake's head coming up with this scum of a man by the name of Mr. Raditz, who has been plotting to have the Earth division of Tekkadan wiped out because he feels they are trash, they're garbage, they have no business being on Earth, let alone being in charge of being bodyguards, as Tekkadan was hired by, I'm gonna have to look at this name because I'm gonna butcher it every single time, the Abraru Defense Force were in charge of a ceremony. It's going to be a ceremony, you know, Makanai is going to talk through it and everything, and Tekkadan was actually hired to be bodyguards for this ceremony. However, the prejudice for them is so high. I mean, this guy Raditz was like, yeah, you guys are bodyguards, but you only bodyguard outside. We don't need you inside. Rabru, we have our defenses within. Comes to find out, this is all part of a big plot. So it's time to play the wheel of deception, folks. Per usual, Tekkadan is underestimated, they're hated, and they're being set up to take the fall by this man, Mr. Raditz, as he's working with Rustal's version of Gjallarhorn, who wants to uproot Fareed. And he's going to do everything possible to make that happen, even if Tekkadan has to take the fall for it. And that kind of brings me to one thing. I don't see Fareed as being evil anymore. I mean, I like the character either way, but now I see him more along the lines of being like Zek Marquise from Gundam Wing, where I think that even though them and Tekkadan probably will clash over some meaningless squabble because of reasons, I think overall they're going to end up being allies, because the 7 stars are definitely corrupt with what they set up in this episode today. They basically planned an assassination on Makanai. And Tekkadan's going to take the fall for it because they're going to take the hit for their shoddy defense because they should have saw it coming. So how this ended up happening is there's a man that was hired by Rustal, and this guy is like a bearded man who even Rustal's people are like, we don't know about this guy. We don't like him. He's crazy. He's a wild card. He was hired to plant a bomb where Makanai was, and he got the access that he needed to from Mr. Raditz on the Earth Defense again, who has a very high prejudice for the Tekkadan members. So that was the inside man, and you have Gjallarhorn behind this all along. And Fareed points this out, that now with people with all these independent companies and things like that, instead of trusting Gjallarhorn with the safety of Earth, we're going to see things like this all the time, so we might as well get ready for a war. Something else that I like from this episode, and again, we got a lot of time with people outside of the main cast. I mean, we touched base with, even though she is a main cast member, we touched base with Kudelia in this episode, who's beginning to question if she's even doing the right thing. As per usual, Tekkadan is underestimated, they're hated, and they're being set up to take the fall by this man, Mr. Raditz, as he's working with Rustal's version of Gjallarhorn, who wants to uproot Fareed. And he's going to do everything possible to make that happen, even if Tekkadan has to take the fall for it. And that kind of brings me to one thing. I don't see Fareed as being evil anymore. I mean, I like the character either way, but now I see him more along the lines of being like Zek Marquise from Gundam Wing, where I think that even though them and Tekkadan probably will clash over some meaningless squabble because of reasons, I think overall they're going to end up being allies, because the 7 stars are definitely corrupt with what they set up in this episode today. They basically planned an assassination on Makanai. And Tekkadan's going to take the fall for it because they're going to take the hit for their shoddy defense because they should have saw it coming. So how this ended up happening is there's a man that was hired by Rustal, and this guy is like a bearded man who even Rustal's people are like, we don't know about this guy. We don't like him. He's crazy. He's a wild card. He was hired to plant a bomb where Makanai was, and he got the access that he needs to from Mr. Raditz on the Earth Defense again, who has a very high prejudice for the Tekkadan members. So that was the inside man, and you have Gjallarhorn behind this all along. And Fareed points this out that now with people with all these independent companies and things like that, instead of trusting Gjallarhorn with the safety of Earth, we're going to see things like this all the time. So we might as well get ready for a war. She should be continuing her fight for Earth's independence, and we can see why at this point, because there's still people out there who want the worst for Mars. So she wants to fight for the independence for Mars, but she has to do these little things like sending out Tekkadan to do these type of jobs in order to make that happen. But most importantly is that we get the relationship of some of the kids from Human Derbis, mostly a kid by the name of Ashton, and he has a lot of parallels to Akihiko when he first was introduced into the series, where he feels that he's just a war orphan. His life is expendable. He's just there to live and die. Even though he has a strong love for his people, he doesn't have any worth for himself besides fighting. All he knows how to do is fight. But he is secretly, or maybe he just didn't know how to express it, he's admired by Chad, a man who was from Human Derbis, and to come up and be a high member in Tekkadan, and also as like an ambassador on the Earth side of things. So we saw Akihiko was really happy about that as well. So you know they are going to want revenge, as all we know about Chad right now is that he is unconscious. I really do think that this Raditz guy had him killed if he didn't die protecting Makanai, who is in a coma. We know his condition, but they keep hemming and hawing and jumping around what's wrong with Chad as the kids keep asking where is he, and this Raditz dude's like, look, I'm in charge here, you can't talk to anybody else but me about this, he's fine. I really do think he's dead, or if he isn't dead, he's definitely going to die, because we're gonna get a loss somewhere. It's just war. That's how it happens, and if that happens to Chad, you're going to see the reversion of the Human Derbis. They're probably gonna want to go in, and it's a thing setting up as well, because this guy Raditz, he wants to wipe out the kids of Tekkadan on Earth, and he's going to use this defense force led by this man with the beard to do it. I believe his name was something. Let me take a look at my notes. I wrote it down, and I don't do this much on cam, but I really have to. His name is Galan Mosa, and he's going to be heading this defense force. And it's no doubt he's going to try to wipe out Tekkadan from within while they're on Earth, because the main forces, you know, Orca and all those guys and Mikazuki, they're still in Mars. It's going to take them like 3 weeks to get back to Earth. So he's going to try to wipe them out now. Luckily, they do have some Shindens on deck, and if Akihiko and Shino is there, you know the Guisen is there, and you know that they're going to go in with the suits that they have. I don't think these guys know what they're getting into. They're still underestimating Tekkadan, but I think it's going to be some losses because this corruption is in so deep that it's going to be too late. So yeah, that was pretty much the episode. It was, I don't want to say it was a chill episode, because we did get the tension that's going on between Gjallarhorn and their two units with Fareed's side of things, as well as Rustal's, and the battle is going on between them and with Galeo and Fareed and everything. And then we have Tekkadan dealing with the prejudice and the hatred that people have for them on Earth, to the point where they're trying to wipe them out, make them take the fall for it. And I think Rustal is planning to have this Gjallarhorn team kind of swoop in and save the day. But it's still weird, because even if they do that, it's not going to be Fareed's side of things, so you're still going to have a war. Man, Gundam with the war politics. This is why I'm here for it every week. This is why it's such a great series, and I'm thoroughly enjoying it, as I expected I would. So guys, let me know what you thought of this episode in the comments. If you liked the video, go ahead and drop it a like, and if you want to hear more, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, as there is not a shortage of content for you to indulge on this channel. And as I always say, you guys can be anywhere on YouTube right now, but you chose to listen to me. I really appreciate that, so thanks for stopping by. Ajin is out, so I will have a review for Ajin this week. Terribly sorry I didn't have it last week, so I will have that up. If not right after this, it'll be definitely tonight. So on that note, it's your boy Infrar-Ed signing out. See you soon.